This is the Kidsloop platform. This is the landing page. This is what you see as a Kidsloop admin or teacher when you first sign into the platform. So again, the first thing that I want to highlight is the content digitization. So as pointed out, one of the key features on the platform, one of the main things that it provides is it really gives teachers and educators the ability to take their curriculum that they know and love and bring that into a digital space. So we're not here to tell you what to teach or how to teach. We're here to give you the tools to bring the curriculum that you already know works online and to bring that to your students. So how do we do that on the platform? So here what we're looking at is my library, which you can see I've organized into a number of folders. If I want to create some new content, well, all I have to do is click on the create button here and jump into content. So now what we're looking at is our interactive content creation module. So we utilize a technology called H5P, which allows us to create interactive content, which can then be used either in a physical classroom. It can be assigned for homework, or it can be done in a live Zoom type classroom like we're doing right now, which we will demonstrate for you in just a moment. So as you can see here, there's a very large number of templates that appeal to a large number of different types of learning styles. And these can really be utilized and combined in ways to create a huge number of potential activities that you can do. And these can suit different age groups, different skill levels. And so if I just have a chance to show you what a few of these look like just briefly, the course presentation is a very popular type of activity. Very simple to create. It's a template that looks something like this. It's very easy to enhance both with audio, with quiz-like features, multiple choice, various different types of activities and supplementation. You can also include video. There's a large number of ways to increase the interactivity and the engagement. We always want to focus on that engagement. Another very popular template type is the drag and drop. So this is really great, especially for young learners, and especially if they're using something like a smartphone or a tablet, because it's very easy to use on the screen there. You can just drag and drop the items to their appropriate places, and then of course check and see how many of those you've gotten correct. We also have activities like the hotspot, where there can be a prompt that gives some sort of instruction, and then you interact with the screen to select the appropriate items. If you select a correct item, you will get some positive reinforcement. And if you click the incorrect item, you'll get negative reinforcement or perhaps no response. Additionally, you can have image hotspots where you can click to get additional information about a given item. Here, this is telling me some additional information about blackberries. We can also attach things like video into these types of templates as well. Another type of template that we have that has been very popular is the image sequencing. This is really great for practicing things like memory and logic, and also reinforcing things like vocabulary. So in this case, I would just drag and drop these items into their appropriate order. And I won't make you watch me do the whole activity because I'm very likely to get a lot of it wrong. Let's just see how many I got correct there. Okay, yes, indeed, I got several wrong, but a great activity for practicing those skills. And then finally, we do, of course, have activities that are more tailored towards, or templates rather, I should say, that are more tailored towards older learners, that are more linguistically focused, that will involve typing in the correct answers, or indeed things like essays that are more subjective in nature. And of course, that you can check, and it will tell you if you've done that correctly or incorrectly. And that's just a few of the templates that you can utilize on the platform, and again, combine in a number of ways to bring your content online into digital form that can then be delivered through a number of different modules. And that's the next area of the platform that I would like to move into, which is the content delivery. So if I jump into my schedule here, there are three main modes of content delivery on the system, which I pointed out earlier. You can deliver this content in a physical classroom. You can deliver it via homework, so it can be assigned by a teacher. It can then be done by a student on their device if they have one, or alternatively, it can be non-digital homework that can be uploaded and assessed. And finally, we do have the live Zoom-like classroom feature, which I would like to demonstrate for you right now. So I'm just going to click this class that was scheduled on my calendar, and I'm going to jump into the live classroom here. So I can see that my video and my audio are working here. So I'm going to go ahead and join the class. Okay, and this is our live classroom. This is what the live classroom looks like. And so basically here on the top right, I can see myself. My screen is pinned to the top as the teacher, and I can see my student here on the bottom right. If I had multiple students, they would all be here. I would be able to scroll through and see all of them. So within this live classroom, there are a number of tools that are available to teachers to increase the engagement and interactivity within this live module. So of course, I can present my activity to the students, in which case I'm able to, as the teacher, I will lead this activity. I'll go through it myself and present it to my students. So this is actually a storybook using the Badanamu content, our internal content, which we were able to digitize very easily using the H5P templates. This was a very good way to digitize what was previously an analog storybook. I have a large number of activities that I've assigned in this lesson, which I can go through with my students. Taking a look at the next one. This is, again, a sequencing activity, which we looked at earlier. And this is a good time to show off the interactive part of the system. So when I am using Kidsloop Live, I'm not limited in the same way that I am with a product like Zoom, which is entirely one way, essentially. There is no way within Zoom, there's no way for students to be really interacting with the activities. It has to be done and led by the teacher while the students watch. But what we have incorporated is some interactivity to allow the students to be directly performing the action. So as we can see here, I as the teacher I no longer have control of this activity. My student is doing it herself. And if there were multiple students in this class, then they would all be able to have their own screen. They would be able to do it independently on an individual level. And then as they're going through the activity, if I think they've done a great job, what I can do is come over to the screen and give some positive feedback and let my student know that they've done a really great job. So I'm just going to take this chance to go through a few more of the activities we have and demonstrate how these can work. So of course we have things like a whiteboard option. So if I click here to allow drawing, this will give my student the ability to now draw on the screen, and I have this ability as well. So we could work on this whiteboard activity together to go through. Again, this is a review of the storybook that we did previously. I'm checking to see that my student remembers the order of the book, but also this gives them a chance to produce some language, which as we know is critical in something like an ESL classroom. So maybe as we go through this maze activity, I prompt my student and ask he or she to go through and describe these pictures for me. Finally, we have things like the flashcard activity. I'm just going to clear the board. So we have flashcards activities that you can use for vocabulary review. These are also built in with audio recognition, so you can just speak the word as well, and that will get recognized. And then we have things like so formerly this was a sticker activity in our physical book, which we were very easily able to digitize into a drag and drop activity here. So you can play it just like a sticker activity and go through and place these in the appropriate positions. So I think that this is a good place for me to transfer into the data side of the platform, how we collect that data, what types of data we collect, and then why we collect those and how it can be used. So a really important thing about this Kidsloop platform and the way that we collect data, I'm actually going to go back to the maze activity in order to demonstrate this. Actually, let me start on the sequencing activity. So of course, as for types of activities like we have here, there is a check function that I'm able to click. Of course, I didn't move any of these items yet, so I got 0 out of 6 correct. So of course, this is data that we collect, how many answers that a student got correct or incorrect. But of course, this is largely trivial. This is data that's very simple to collect, and of course is very important, but it's pretty easy to collect on the back end. What is really interesting about the platform and the way that we have engineered it is that we can go much, much further than that. So I was just showing off the maze activity here. So I'm gonna open the whiteboard again, give my student a chance to draw, and I'm going to do a little bit of drawing as well. So what is far more interesting is that we're able to collect a wide array of different types of data that can then be analyzed in many different ways to give us a really nuanced understanding of the way that students are learning. So for example, right now, my student and I are both drawing on this maze here. We both happen to be using a keyboard and mouse. However, of course, most young students would probably be using a tablet and using their finger or perhaps a stylus to actually draw. And so in this case, there's no check button. But what we're able to do is we're able to collect all of the data, all of this pathing data. So as we drew these lines on the maze, we're able to collect all of that data from the actual tactical input on the platform. Okay, so why is that interesting? So that's interesting because it gives us insights into things like fine motor development. How quickly is this student developing their fine motor skills? Is this on par with the rest of the students in the class? So this gives us a really nuanced look into the physical development of the child. So I showed this as just one example, but this basically touches on every piece of data, every interaction that a student has or a user has on the platform is collected. So this would include the audio data that would come in through things like the flashcard activity. Of course, any information that's typed, like an essay, things like that, all of that is of course recorded. Again, for drag and drop activities, this pathing data is all collected. And so what our extremely talented team in the UK then is able to do is take this very large and, more importantly, very unique data set. We really are the first company that's been able to put together a data set like this on this scale. And what our UK team is able to do is get a very detailed and personalized view of the way individual students are learning, and then take that data and use it to help that student along their learning journey. And that comes into the development of the AI and the personal learning guide.